Why, hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. It's been a long time since you've heard my voice. What is up, guys? This is James, a.k.a. Jimmypancakes20, back here to do a new episode of the Jimmypancakes20 show. And boy, are we right into the Christmas season. But of course, we have one more thing that we have to talk about for Halloween Horror Nights. And before we talk about what this episode is, of course, I'm joined again by, at this point, we're going to start calling her my co-host, my mom, Marsha. So, Mom, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
So, Mom, we are excited to do this. Finally, we had time to finally get together to do this. This is our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2023 review. We're going to break down everything. So, how we're going to do this episode is we're going to break down from our least favorite scare zone to our favorite scare zone to our favorite show from the two shows that they had there. Then we're also going to rate the Terror Tram, how we felt about the Terror Tram this year. And then at the end of this podcast, we're going to go from our least favorite maze to our favorite maze. And basically, Marsha and I had done a list. And we do not know what our list is. We don't know whose favorite maze is. So we're going to be reviewing it live in this podcast. So, and how we're going to do it is we're going to start from the very first maze that was Holidays in Hell all the way to the last maze that was the last one at the very top, which was Evil Dead Rise. And we're going to basically tell you where it listed on from our favorite maze, from our least favorite maze to our favorite maze. And then we also are scoring it from a 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best. So, and then we're going to do our overall score of the event, telling you if we liked it this year, if it was worth it, all that. So get ready for a long podcast, and I hope you guys are ready. So this is episode 10, our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2023 review. So, just to give you a brief history, or a brief summons, Marsha and I did go on closing night of Halloween Horror Nights. We did some of the mazes. We only missed 2 of them. But definitely check out our vlog video to see what mazes we did. I will put a link to it down below. It is on YouTube, and also there is the audio form that's on Podbean, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music Podcasts. So, Mom, are you ready to start this episode?
I am ready.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 10 of the Jimmypancakes20 show, our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2023 review. So, Mom, let's first talk about the Terror Tram. So, the Terror Tram, we did twice.
We did do it twice.
So, the overall framing of exterminators for the Terror Tram mixed in with Jordan Peele's Us. So, your overall thought when you first heard about this?
I said, bugs? Spiders? Really? I'm not going to give my opinion yet, but I'm just going to say it was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So you thought the Terror Tram was good this year. There was no faults or anything.
No.
Okay, so for me, I like the concept of the Terror Tram this year. Okay? But what really took me out is when you had this great story with the bugs and the exterminator and stuff, and then you also added the Jupiter's Claim set, and that took you out. So technically it was 2 things in one, instead of it being a continuing story.
Right.
So I
could understand that.
So that was like my only criticism, but everything else was good. So Mom, from the 2 times that we did do the Terror Tram, your overall experience, what was your score? From a 1 being the worst to a 5 being the best.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay, and why did you give it a 4 out of 5?
Okay.
There's probably a reason why you didn't give it a 5, because you said the Terror Tram was perfect this year. So
I said it was good.
It was good, so it wasn't perfect for you in your mind.
It wasn't perfect because, okay, the Terror Tram was good.
Like the exterminators part.
Yeah, the exterminator part. Once we got to Jordan Peele's thing, you lost track of the Terror Tram.
So you
like I'm saying, like, okay, Terror Tram was good. You went to Jupiter's Claim, and then wham! I forgot all about the Terror Tram.
So it took you out of
It took me out of the Terror Tram.
Okay. For me, my score is a 3 out of 5.
Why is that?
Okay, so when we did it on opening night, it was good. Like, we had all the scare actors. But when we did it the second time, I felt like the scare actors were not giving it its all. So I didn't get that, like, grand thing from the opening night.
Right.
So I did like the exterminators. I did like that they had Jupiter claim, okay? But it didn't feel, it felt like it was 2 separate things. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
I could understand that.
So that's the reason why I gave it a 3 out of 5 like I did. So it was one of those things where it was good, but it could have been better.
Right.
So your final score for the Terror Tram for this year was a 4 out of 5.
Yes.
And then my final score was a 3 out of 5. So overall, I enjoyed the Terror Tram. I thought it was a good Terror Tram. But I'm just hoping for next year's Terror Tram that it's one continuing story instead of 2 separate things. Because I understand why they wanted to do Us. It was a movie that came out. They wanted to tie in with Jordan Peele and stuff. I understood that. But come on, you had a brilliant story and you couldn't continue it through Jupiter's Claim.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. They should have put the exterminators in Jupiter Claim.
To continue with one
story.
So yeah, so that's our opinion of the Terror Tram. You guys may have different opinions, but that is what our opinion is. So Mom, now let's move on to scare zones. We had 3 scare zones this year. We had Ghostz, which was the chainsaw guys.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Toyz, which was on the New York street. And then you had El Terror the Mummy, which was the scare zone.
Tied in with the maze.
With the maze, with the monsters of Latin America. So, starting with your number 3, Mom, what was your number 3?
Was that the best one?
That was the worst scare zone.
Worst was Toyz.
Really? I was surprised on that. Okay, so why was Toyz your worst scare zone?
They weren't really scaring me. I just feel like I didn't get enough scares out of that scare zone.
Wow. So that was your worst scare zone. So you gave it a 1 out of 5.
No, 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Okay. So you must have liked something, because if it was the worst one, it would have been a 1 out of 5.
I gave it a 2 out of 5 because I got some scares, but not a lot of scares in that scare zone.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's your number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 3 is El Terror de Mummy.
I'm surprised on that, James.
Okay, so there's a reason why, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
I understand that they were trying to tie it in with the maze, okay? Now, there's been scare zones that had mazes that had to tie in with a scare zone that were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said for the Terror Tram, they tried to make it themed to the Terror Tram, but they felt like it was the maze, and then you had the scare zone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They did have one character in the scare zone that was kind of tying the whole thing, which was the grave digger, but that was it. That was it. I just
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I really okay. I did enjoy the scare zone, but I didn't kind of understand the concept of scare zone. That it just yeah. So I'm sorry. I had to give it a 1 out of 5.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. So that was my thing for number 3. What was your number 2 scare zone?
Ghostz.
Ghostz. Okay.
I like this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I did get scares in that one.
Okay.
I like the concept of it
Mm-hmm.
and everything. I got a lot of scares out of that one.
Okay. Okay. So that is your number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, Ghostz is my number 2 as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The reason why it's not a number 1 is because it's the same concept. You have the chainsaw guys every single year at the beginning of the park. They're just different characters.
Right.
I enjoyed that they were ghost characters, but it really wasn't tied into anything. It didn't really have its own theming.
Right.
It was just one of those things where it's like, okay, it's the Chainsaw Guys again. It's cool. They're ghosts, but it really didn't have a story to it. So
True.
So yeah,
on that one. Yeah.
Okay. So your number 1 is El Terror de Mummy. I really am interested in why you thought that was a number 1.
I really liked it. I liked the concept. And I did get scares in that one.
So you got more scares in that one than Toyz.
Right.
Okay. So what was your score for that one?
5 out of 5.
Oh, and I forgot to say my score for Ghostz was a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
What was your score for Ghostz? Did you say it?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 for Ghostz for you, 3 out of 5 for me. And then your favorite scare zone again was Mummy de Terror.
Right.
And that was a 5 out of 5 for you.
I really liked it.
So you enjoyed like the props and stuff in that scare zone and stuff? Okay. And you thought it tied in well with the maze?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. For me, as I said, it took me out of the maze.
Okay.
My favorite scare zone was Toyz.
Surprised on that.
Okay.
Surprise on that one.
You were surprised on that one, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the reason why I like Toyz, okay, and I think this was the scare zone that we spent more time in, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's killer toys that are coming back to haunt you. You have a freaking toy maker that's controlling them. I didn't like toys as a kid. It terrified me. There was some toys that you got me that just freaked me out. So I had a natural fear of toys. And when they had a toy scare zone, seeing some of my childhood toys come into life, it freaked me the fuck out.
Right.
So it was a cool concept. And I also enjoyed the opening ceremony that they did for that one.
Right.
Where toys were coming after humans.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't like that show at all? I was surprised on that. But you can't take your answer back.
I know.
You can't take your answer back.
I know. I can't.
But, wow. Okay. I am really, really surprised on that. Wow. Okay. Okay. So we did the Terror Tram, we did the scare zones. Oh boy. And I know this was a hard decision for you. Talking between the two shows this year.
It was.
It was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was your out of the two shows between the Purge, Deadliest Waters, and Blumhouse Behind the Screams? What was your least favorite show this year?
You're going to be totally surprised. Blumhouse.
Really?
I was surprised too, James. Don't get me wrong, I like Blumhouse. But the other show took the cake.
Oh, and for Toyz, I realized I forgot to say my thing. It was a 5 out of 5 for Toyz.
Okay.
Okay? But now going back to the show. Blumhouse was your least favorite show.
Don't get me wrong, I liked it. Okay, the reason I gave it...
What was your score for that?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Okay.
Yeah. The reason I gave it a 4 out of 5 is it wasn't long enough.
Really? Okay.
And it was all about Megan.
You thought
for the show, but the props were for Blumhouse. I like that.
Okay.
But they should have had more characters in the show besides Megan.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's the way I felt.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just telling you, James.
I see your point for that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yours?
Okay.
For Blumhouse? Or what was your thing?
My number out of the two shows, okay, was, and I don't remember, so drum roll please. Purge Deadliest Waters.
What? Okay, why?
Okay, and I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so we've had Purge so many times, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that it was a Blumhouse movie, okay? Okay? I understand that they needed a new show because they got rid of, the Castle Theater and they're building Fast and the Furious now there.
Right.
But, okay. The whole point of the story is you have this politician that's on an island. You have your security team. Part of their security team is working for the bad guys. It was, okay, I enjoyed the story part, okay?
Right.
But it's just, you kind of knew what was going to happen before the show ended.
Yeah.
It was, okay. I enjoyed the twist at the end, okay? Where one of the girls was working with them. But it was just basically Waterworld with Purge.
Yeah.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a freaking stunt show that has the Purge with a different story.
Okay.
Okay? Not like where you had Slaughter World where it was blood and guts and stuff. And I was like, where's the blood? Where's the guts? This is a stunt show. This is Halloween Horror Nights. It's supposed to be bloody and gory. There was no blood. There was no nothing. I was like, come on. Come on, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. You could have done a lot better. If you were going to do a stunt show for the Purge, you could have done it a lot better.
True. I could understand your point, James. True.
Okay? That's why I give it a 2 out of 5. Okay? So, your number 1 show was The Purge, Deadliest Waters.
Yes.
I would like to know the reason why that was your number 1 show.
Okay. The reason why is action-packed, which I like.
Okay.
The stunts were good.
Okay.
And overall, I was surprised I liked it as much as I did. I just like the concept of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I was surprised.
And I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Okay. The reason why I chose Blumhouse is it was a unique experience. It was a show at a museum. It had a photo op.
Mm-hmm.
It had all these different things. Okay, combined into one.
Right.
Okay. Now again, I agree with you that they had Megan, but Megan's scary. It's a robotic girl.
Right.
Okay.
I can understand that.
Okay. I think we saw that show a total of 5 times.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
So I was really surprised that I enjoyed that more than The Purge. I really thought The Purge was going to hit it because we haven't had a stunt show on the Waterworld show since Slaughterworld, since 2008.
Right.
But just Megan or the Blumhouse Behind the Screens became my more favorite show for some reason. It just was better.
Okay.
So it's a hit or miss. That's all I can say is, you know, yeah. But Blumhouse overall was better. It was everything combined into one. Again, as I said, it was props. You had a host. You had a photo ops. You had Megan. You had a show. So it was combined into one.
Okay. And what was your score on that one?
My score for that one was a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
So it was one of those things that I just was surprised at, that I really did enjoy. I just could not believe it. So.
Don't get me wrong. I love Blumhouse, but I don't know, something about the Purge Stunts show was a lot better. I was surprised that I chose the Purge.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, all right, guys, so this is where I'm going to stop this portion. So this is going to be 2 parts edited because now we're getting into the mazes, and I know that part's going to be a lot longer. So we will be right back to continue with the mazes. So this is going to be 2 parts edited together. So we'll be right back. Alright guys, so we are back to continue our conversation for our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2023 review. And now we are going to talk about the mazes. So, how Marsha and I are going to do it, like we said at the beginning, we are going to start with our least favorite maze and then go to our favorite maze. And Marsha and I do not know each other's list. It may surprise us that we might have a tie for the same thing. Who knows? Mm-hmm. As I said, we were not together when we did this list, so we don't know what our lists are. So we're going to start with number 8, our least favorite maze. Mom, what is your number 8 maze?
Holidays in Hell.
Really? because mine is also Holidays in Hell. So my score for this one was a 1 out of 5. And for yours?
1 out of 5 also.
1 out of 5.
The reason I did not like it...
I think we should both agree. You and I have been going to Halloween Horror Nights for a long time. And in 2019 was the first year they did Holidays in Hell. Now, I should say when Holidays in Hell was announced back, we thought it was going to be changed. I thought they were going to maybe do new holidays or new things. You want to tell them what happened?
Same scenes. Never changed it. The same old.
Yes. So, and that was located on the lower lot, where Killer Clowns was last year in 2022. So, yeah, our least favorite maze.
Really our least favorite.
Right. So, let's move on to number 7. What was your number 7 maze and your score?
Evil Dead Rises, a 2 out of 5.
Really? Because mine is also Evil Dead Rises, a 2 out of 5.
The reason is...
What was your reason? And then I'll give my reason.
The reason is first of all, James and me never saw the movie. Okay, before we went into this maze.
Okay.
Really didn't understand it. I didn't know what who the main character was. And I didn't really get scared in that maze.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got some good scares, but not a lot.
Right.
It was kind of like boring. So those are my reasons. And, because I should have saw the movie first to understand it, but we never did. And the location was in a LA apartment building. Okay, LA apartment building? Weird.
Okay, so yes, I have to agree with my mom. We never did see the movie. The setting was taking place in an LA apartment building. Because when I think of Evil Dead, I think of Cabin in the Woods or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was a hit or miss, but also I didn't understand the story because most of the time when the maze comes, I'll usually try to watch the TV show or the movie before going to the event.
Right.
I didn't understand this one. And it wasn't worth the wait. If it was 20 minutes, then yeah, it was, but waiting a whole hour for this one, it wasn't really worth it.
No.
So I just
And that's the only time James and me went through that maze.
No, we did it twice.
Oh, we did do it twice.
We also did it closing night as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot.
We did do that maze twice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what mazes we did that night.
Yeah. That's why you guys should check out our closing night vlog video, which I will put a link at the bottom. So now we move on to number 6. So far, Marsha and I have agreed that both our worst maze was Holidays in Hell. And also number 7 was Evil Dead Rise. Let's see if we tie for number 6. So Mom, what is your number 6. And what was the score?
Please don't get mad at me. Okay?
Why am I going to get mad at you? This is an open, honest opinion. This is your list, and then I have my list.
Okay. Number 6 on my list was Chucky's ultimate kill.
Count.
Okay.
I'm surprised on that.
I gave it a 2 out of 5. The reason is...
Okay, or the multiple reasons.
Multiple reasons is I really didn't get scared in that maze.
Really?
Well, I did in some scenes.
Okay.
No. Sorry. I did get scared in some of the scenes through the whole maze. Okay. But I didn't understand the story.
Really? Okay.
I know it's a killer doll.
Okay.
He likes killing people. But there was a lot of sets in there that, I didn't understand.
Okay.
So that's why I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
What was yours, James?
Mine. Okay. This one's going to be a curveball because first what I'm going to say about this one is this was one that I really had high hopes for. I thought it was going to knock it out of the park, but it fell flat on its thing. My number 6 is Monsters of Latin America.
What? Okay, I'm surprised on that one, James.
And it was a 2 out of 5. Now, there are several reasons, okay? Don't get me wrong. What John Mayer was describing that Midsummer Scream about this maze and stuff like that, given the hype and stuff, I was all in for it. But when it came to the maze and the way that they laid out these characters, it felt like you were being rushed. You didn't have enough time to understand the story of each character. It was just 1 or 2 scenes with the character and you were moved on to the next. 1 or 2 scenes and then you were moved on to your next. I like mazes that, like, when you get into it, you understand the story and that there's a continual flow. I understand that it was 3 legends combined, but you should have had more time to understand really their characters and stuff. Right. So it just, it just fell flat. This was one that I really thought they was going to do good.
Right.
But it just fell. It just wasn't good at all. It just, yeah. I
can understand what you were saying, James.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what was your number 5?
The Exodus Believer.
Okay, and what was your score?
3 out of 5.
Why was The Exorcist Believer kind of your middle maze? Where it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
Okay. We went through it without watching the movie. Okay? I kind of understood what the concept was, but once I saw the movie, I was like, oh, okay. But, I liked the scenes. I liked everything. But it wasn't really scary for me.
Really?
I mean, it was and it wasn't.
Okay.
But, I liked the story. But the original one took the cake. I kind of like that one better. I know this is continuing the story.
Well, it's its own story.
But
It didn't feel like the original Exorcist.
No. That's what I was trying to say. It didn't feel like the original Exodus, but I like the concept of the story, but
it just didn't work.
It just didn't work.
Okay.
That's my thing.
Okay.
It just didn't work.
So, my number 5 is also the Exorcist believer.
Why?
3 out of 5.
Okay, why is that?
Okay, so I definitely agree with what you were saying, okay? Where the first time it was basically felt like you were walking into a live trailer before the movie came out. And then, of course, you and I saw the movie, and then we went back the second night, we understood.
Right.
However, they've done the Exorcist maze in the past based off the original one. It was good. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
But
it was.
This one, the story, it was trying to do its own original thing, where you had these 2 girls that were exorcists, that were possessed and stuff. But when you did, stuff like time travel and stuff, that's where it just lost its thing. It didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But if it was true to the original one, it could have been a lot better. But when you had this supernatural and this time traveling stuff, that's kind of like where it didn't thing. So overall, it was a decent maze, but it could have been a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, what is your number 4?
Believe it or not, Monsters of Latin America.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And why is Monsters of Latin America your
number 4 choice?
Yes.
Because I really like the story. I got double scares every time I went into that maze.
Okay.
I liked the interaction with the grave digger.
Okay.
And one scene when I was walking behind you, James, I was looking down the hallway with one of the monsters and another monster came out and scared me. That's what I liked.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I like the story of it.
Okay.
I like the story of it, and I really like the maze.
Okay.
What was your number 4?
Okay, so for the last 4, I really had a struggle, okay? So I was going back and forth between number 3 and number 4, okay? But my top 3, I was locked and loaded, okay?
Okay.
This one that was at number 4, I really wish was on my top 3. But it was slightly disgraded because of some of the scenes that were in this one. Universal Monsters Unmasked.
What? I really thought you liked that one, James.
Okay. I did like this one, okay?
Okay.
Okay? But here's the thing. They've been doing monster mazes since 2008. Or since 2018. I'm sorry. And my score for this one was a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Okay? I had a couple of problems with this one. Okay?
Okay.
First, the narrator of this thing was the rat lady. There was only one live scare actor for her, and she was like off in the corner. She wasn't, that was a number 1 problem. Number 2, it was very short between the characters that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
You only had maybe 3 rooms with the Family Opera. You only had 2 rooms with the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You only had 1 room with
the Invisible Man.
With the Invisible Man. You had maybe 3 rooms with,
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And then you had the mean version of Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It didn't feel like a Universal Monster Maze.
Right.
Okay? I will tell you all the ones, there were some good ones and there were some bad ones, okay? And when we get to the history of it, I'll tell you about some of the good ones and some of the bad ones, okay? But this one, it was good, it was decent. I did like that Slash came back and did the music for this one.
Mm-hmm.
But just the way that it was set up, it just felt flat. And you didn't spend a lot of time with these characters.
Right.
And there was one time where we were stuck in one particular room for 7-8 minutes.
Yeah.
That really pissed you off, and I had to calm you down.
Oh, yeah, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I can tell you that much. I was pissed.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So, that's why this one is my number 4. And that's why this one gets a 3 out of 5.
Okay. Got it.
So, now we go to our top 3. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you, you and I both had problems with our top 3. Okay?
I certainly did. Definitely.
So, going to your number 3. What is it and what was the score and why was this one of your top 3?
You'll be surprised. Universal Monsters.
Unmasked is your number 3.
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Why was this one of your top 3?
Because I saw the Phantom of the Opera, movie form, and the live stage.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked the classic monsters.
Okay.
It was good. I mean, it was really good. But when we got stuck in that room, I didn't like that, but that was a little hiccup. I got over it.
Mm-hmm.
I just liked all the scares.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the stories.
Okay.
And I really, really liked it. Because I grew up with the classic monsters. So that's why I liked it. That's why that was one of my top 3s.
Okay. Okay. So my number 3, and again, between number 4 and number 5, between number 4 and number 3, Universal Monsters could have been in my top 3, but because of what I just explained, that's why it was not my top 3.
Right.
My number 3 is, drumroll please, Chucky's Ultimate Kill Count, and I give it a 4 out of 5.
Why was that in your top 3?
Okay. I enjoyed the story of it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the environments. I'm a huge fan of the Chucky movies. Okay? I like that you went from a toy factory to a home to a hospital to Christmas and stuff. It was really cool. And I'm going to tell you, this one I got the most scares.
Okay.
I was really shocked about how good it was. And the big scare at the end with the giant fucking Chucky, and you were ahead of me, and I stood back a little bit because I was filming.
Mm-hmm.
And this was on closing night.
Right.
Okay? Or I think it was the second night. It was one of the nights.
One of the nights when you were filming.
And I stood back, and that fucking big fucking Chucky came out and scared me half to death.
Right.
Okay? The finale of that fucking maze, that was like one of the big reasons why this was one of my top 3, was that fucking finale room with that fucking giant fucking, Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
It was worth it.
Okay.
That's why it was on my top 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
So, now, ladies and gentlemen, it has come down to between 2 mazes. Stranger Things and The Last of Us. So, Mom, your number 2 maze.
My number 2 maze is The Last of Us.
Okay. Why?
I gave it a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Why was that your number 2 maze?
Okay, because first of all, I understood it because I was watching you play the video game.
Both number 1 and number
2. That's why I understood the story from the video games. I got a lot of freaking scares out of that one.
Mm-hmm.
I love the interaction with Joel and Ellie outside before you go into the maze.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 scare actors out there.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a lot of freaking scares in that one.
Right.
Whatever those creatures were.
Yeah. But is there a particular reason why this is not your number 1 favorite maze?
What's
the big reason why it's not your number 1?
Because the other one I liked a lot better.
And you're more of a fan of this particular one instead?
Instead of The Last of Us, yeah.
Okay.
I really like The Last of Us. I got a lot of good scares.
But if you really didn't play the video games,
I didn't understand it.
I mean, you did watch me play, but it didn't,
It didn't feel like... I mean, I liked the story. Because you explained it to me before we went to Halloween Horror Nights. And I saw the video game.
And we also did watch the TV show.
And the TV show. So I understood the story. I got a lot of good scares.
But you had to go with your absolute favorite
one that's coming up.
Yeah.
And I gave that a 5 out of 5.
For The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your number 2, James?
So, I'm going to tell you that this was a really hard choice, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason why this one is number 2. And why the other one is number 1 for me. My number 2 is Stranger Things Season 4.
Why?
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I'm really surprised on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And the score that I gave that one is a 4 out of 5.
Okay. Why is that?
There's two scenes that I really thought they were going to do in this maze that they did in freaking Orlando that really made me pissed off.
What were the two scenes?
I will get to that in a moment.
Okay.
This one was in the same stage where they had the first season and second season of Stranger Things. The problem for Stranger Things season 4 is they did it exactly the same thing the way they did season 1 and season 2. They built the freaking maze in the middle of it, and then they had like the line queue and they had the exit and stuff. Mm-hmm. They could have made it so much bigger. They could have made it so much better. They could have added a lot more scenes. And
I agree with that.
Okay. And the scenes that they did have, and I felt like this Stranger Things had less scare actors in it. Because when they did it in season 1 and they did season 2, I felt like they had a lot more scare actors. I think this one, they were focusing more on the sets than scare actors. Right. So I didn't feel like it was a Stranger Things maze.
Okay.
And there's one scene that they did not do that's an iconic scene from season 4, and this is the reason why this one was my number 2. If they did this freaking scene, then it would have been my number 1.
What scene are you talking about?
Where they're in the upside down world and Eddie does his famous guitar solo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They did that in freaking Orlando and it was brilliant, and the way that they did it, they did not do it here in freaking Hollywood. And it just, a lot of people said the Orlando one was so much better than Hollywood.
I could understand that, yeah.
So,
could understand.
That's the reason why that is my number 2. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things. I love the series. I can't wait for season 5.
Right.
But Hollywood could have done it a lot better.
And make it a lot bigger.
Plus, another thing too is they skipped over season 3 and they went straight to season 4.
Yep. Okay. All right.
So now your number 1 is Stranger Things. My number 1 maze is The Last of Us. Why was Stranger Things for you your absolute favorite maze? And your score is probably a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it is.
Why was this your number 1 maze? Out of all of them, your favorite maze of all time for 2023?
I will tell you. Because I like the scenes in there. They freaking scared me. Viacom scared me so much in there. I like the sets.
Okay.
Overall, it was really good, and I'm a really big fan of Stranger Things.
So you didn't care what scenes they had in there. You were fine with anything that they did in there.
Yeah.
So you didn't have like a famous scene that you wanted to see.
No, I didn't.
Wow.
Totally different from you, James. So, but overall, it scared the bejeebers out of me, too. That's why I did it to number 1. They were scaring me left and right. Viacom.
Right.
Nancy, everybody.
Right.
That's why I did it to number 1. That's why I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
It was my absolute favorite this year.
Yeah. So
and that was a hard choice because I was thinking of my top 3. It's like, which one should I put the number 1?
Right.
And it was a hard choice.
And of course, my number 1 is The Last of Us. 5 out of 5.
Why?
Okay. So here's a little backstory, okay? I grew up with PlayStation. I also grew up with Xbox, right? And I've always been an Xbox guy. I never was a PlayStation guy.
Right.
I did have the PlayStation 2, and then, I had the Xbox 360, stuff like that.
You had almost everything.
And there was one game in particular, I remember this. I remember it was for my birthday a couple years ago, when PlayStation was still one of the hot systems. And I remember one of my friends pretty much said, hey, there's this game that you have to play that originally came out for PlayStation 3. At the time, I didn't play any PlayStation 3 games. And they did a remaster for PlayStation 4 called The Last of Us. And I remember I went to the game store. I remember you were with me.
Right, I was.
And we picked up The Last of Us. I got it in I got it in CD form, or not CD, a disc form. And I remember, I think I played 6 hours straight, and you and I were just memorized with this game. And then you didn't see the end of the game.
I did not.
But I was like, that's freaking amazing. And then I heard that The Last of Us 2 came out, and I bought that game as well. And I played The Last of Us 2. And then, of course, when Warner Brothers was going to do a TV series on it, I had to watch it.
That was the one on Netflix, right?
That Stranger Things was on Netflix.
Oh.
The Last of Us was on HBO Max.
That's right. And I think I watched some of the seasons with you.
No, you watched all of season 1 with me.
Yeah.
And then season 2 is coming out, I think, next year.
Cool.
But yeah, and then when I heard that The Last of Us was coming out, or was going to be a maze at Halloween Horror Nights, I was like, what are they going to do? And it was brilliant, the way they did it in Hollywood. And they got the original voice actors to reprise the role of Ellie and Joel.
Right.
Troy Baker and Ashley, I don't remember her last name.
I don't remember her last name, no.
But they got the original voice actors to come back and do the voice for it.
Right.
And it was just amazing. It was everything that I hoped for in the game, and they had so many game elements in that maze, and I really did enjoy it. Okay. There were some elements that they did in Orlando that I wish they did in Hollywood, but they were trying to make it different, and I was okay with the Hollywood version that we got, and I just was so glad I got to see it. I mean, Last of Us was amazing, and this is the first time in a while where John Brady actually did a video game, or did a maze based off a video game.
Yeah.
The last time he did a maze based off a video game was in 2012 when they did Silent Hill.
Yes.
So I was kind of happy they did a video game back. And I'm going to tell you, this was the #1 rated maze for this year in Hollywood.
Oh, it was #1 maze.
It was #1. Okay. Everyone enjoyed The Last of Us.
Okay.
So I just, I played all video games. I played, I played both Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2. And then I also heard they're making The Last of Us Part 3, which I'm going to play whenever that comes out, because I'm a huge fan of this series.
Right.
So I just was shocked and amazed at how good this maze was. I didn't know what they were going to do in there, and it just shocked me. So, of course, The Last of Us had to be my number one maze for this year for Halloween Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go.
I really enjoyed it, but Stranger Things cooked the cake.
For you.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. So now, the one last thing that we have to do, and then we're going to end this podcast, is our overall score of this year of Halloween Horror Nights. So, what we did for the overall score is we took everything from all the shows, all the mazes, everything, and we basically combined everything to give you our honest score. So for this year for Halloween Horror Nights, Mom, based on everything, what was your overall score and why did you do it?
Okay. I really liked this year. I mean, all the mazes scared me. You're going to be surprised over my overall score, 5 out of 5.
Really?
I enjoyed all the mazes.
Okay.
They freaking scared me all.
Okay.
I liked everything there.
Okay.
And I just really enjoyed the whole Halloween Horror Nights this year.
Okay.
So that's why I gave it a 5 out of 5, because I really, really did enjoy it.
Okay.
So that's why my score is 5 out of 5.
Okay. So for me, my overall score was a 3 out of 5 this year.
Okay.
Now, I did enjoy the mazes. I did enjoy the scare zones. I did enjoy the Terror Tram. But what I will say is, was that the way that they were doing the lines, they were letting a lot more express people go in before us. It took so long for us to get into the Chucky maze. I think we waited an hour for the Chucky maze.
No.
They were not organized. They were not ready. So I would say that if they can improve like on the lines and, the express passes and stuff, because they sold out every single night. It just was good. VIP sold out, just a lot of different things.
Right.
So I would say overall it was good, but,
they can improve on the express pass.
Yeah.
And letting people in.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my overall score. So I did enjoy this year. I just thought that they needed to manage it much better than what they did.
Right. And
stuff like that. So overall, you and I both enjoyed Halloween Horror Nights this year in Hollywood for 2023. Definitely, we are going to be, of course, going back to Halloween Horror Nights next year. We're planning to go also back to Knott's next year, and also we're planning to try to go to Orlando next year as well in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, Mom, anything you want to say before I wrap up this podcast?
I really enjoyed the Halloween Horror Nights this year. Some of the mazes were amazing. Some of them were not. But overall, it was a really good year.
Yeah. I would say overall it was a good year, except, they needed to manage the lines much better.
Right.
And stuff like that.
Right.
But overall it was a good year and stuff like that. All right, guys. So this is going to wrap up the episode for episode 10, or Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2023 review. And I don't know when the next episode's going to be coming out, because I've been super busy with my job, and Marsha's been super busy. So definitely follow me on my social media sites, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and I will let you know when the next episode is going to be out. I don't know what the next episode is going to be about, so who knows? So you guys enjoy a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year whenever I'm back. Christmas is in a few days, so Merry Christmas to everyone. And if I don't see you before the New Year, Happy New Year as well from myself, James, aka Jimmypancakes20. And of course, my mom wants to wish everyone
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
So we'll see you sometime in the future for another episode of the Jimmypancakes20 show. And we'll catch you guys later.